Greetings, Brexplash here with another character description, and this one is a character named Nicole. Now, Nicole, when she first appeared in the comics, she is just a handheld device that Sally talks to, and it gives her the layout of what's going on around them. It can scan for stuff, it can bring up schematics. It's almost like Hey Bixby you have nowadays, or Hey Alexa. That's what Nicole was back then. But Nicole was a little more different. It was almost not sentient, but getting there. Like in the first issues, it was just a regular robotic device. That's it. But then over the issues, it became a little more self-aware time and time again. And there was one issue where during a freak storm or lab accident, Nicole and Sally switched bodies for an issue. So Nicole experienced life for the first time in Sally's body. And it was just a quick issue. But that quick issue solidified Nicole's yearning to actually know and get a real body. And she does that by creating holograms, which she was able to do as a side project by herself. No one taught her that. So now she has something called a Lynx form, which is just how she appears when she wants to talk to others face to face. Even on the screen, she appears as a face, so you rarely see her as just a device anymore. She even found a way to use nanites or the ones that Eggman used at one point, and use them for her friends to create an entire literal city for them to go and hide out in. And she did this all without no one knowing. I don't think Tails or Rotor even knew. She's pretty intelligent. And there was that one scene where the people were afraid of her, and she was taken over by... Oh, that's for another day. But, yeah. Her Lynx form is just a hologram. She's actually a really smart computer. She's very, very protective of her friends. She's good to talk to, I guess. And she's a cool Lynx. And that's about it. Well, I might just combine this with another video to make it easier, because this is really too quick. Greetings, Brexplash here with another vague little character area review. Now, I didn't explain it in the beginning, but the reason why I started doing these explanation videos for certain characters is because Archie Sonic, it's a fun series, but there is a lot, and I mean a lot of characters, places, events that don't always take place when Sonic's around. And it occurred to me that if I try to talk about a comic, unless you're very familiar with the Archie universe, it can be very daunting and confusing. Case in point, my very first Archie Sonic comic that I picked up had a picture of Sonic and Tails going at it. So I thought, okay, cool. I always wanted to see Sonic and Tails fight. And yeah, I was left feeling very not excited after the comic. It was very confusing because you had Tails, who had a mom, was trying to break his dad out of prison, and at the same time there was a secondary plot in which King Elias was trying to fight Tails' father, who was trying to dethrone him, and then Sally was trying to stop it with Nicole. And you get what I mean? I don't know who any of these other characters are, and because they helped build a plot for this moment, I didn't even like the fight, because it was less of a fight and more of a Sonic trying to calm Tails down, while Tails was going at him for events that happened in the past comics that I've never read, so I didn't know what was going on. But when I went back and read the Archie comics and read up to this moment, that comic again, it was a lot better. So that's kind of the issue with Archie Sonic comics. Nowadays, unless you read the previous comics, the current ones don't really mean anything. So I thought, well, if I explain a little bit here and there about past characters, maybe areas and events, that might give a couple of your listeners some insight about it, and it'll make more sense. Will it work? Probably not, but I thought I'd give it a shot. Now, what I'm going to explain right now is the Kingdom of Acorn. Why? Because they are pretty significant in the Archie Sonic comics. More so in the previous arcs than in the ones nowadays, but they're still a big deal in the Archie universe. So the kingdom of Acorn is, well, a kingdom ruled by the Acorn family. And it's a system of monarchy. They have a king, queen, they rule everyone. Now, at one point, Eggman, he was, I believe, the war chief for the kingdom of Acorn. He turned on them, threw the king into another dimension of crystal, and used Sonic's uncle's invention, the roboticizer, to roboticize many characters and use his army of robots to take over the entire kingdom of Acorn. And he called it the Robotropolis. Those who weren't roboticized, they fled into the forest and became the freedom fighters. And then it was maybe what, I'm gonna say 5-10 year battle. And eventually Sonic and his friends, how do I put it? They technically beat Robotnik at issue 50. He was dead for good. But then Robotnik appeared again. So, how do I put it? So, Sonic and his friends beat Robotnik at issue 50. The kingdom of Acorn was kind of sort of not really vaporized, but it was really heavily damaged. And the next issues were Sonic's friends trying to rebuild the kingdom. And Sally's father was taken out of the zone of silence, so he came back as king. And yeah, they were good for a while. But then Eggman, he came back. I'm sorry, Robotnik came back. And then we learned that it was not the true Robotnik, but I'll get to that another time. And from what I can recall, he took back the kingdom again. Or I think the issue was the Robotropolis. It was so heavily poisoned by years of pollution that they couldn't settle down there. So they had a kingdom made somewhere else, thanks to Nicole's nanites. But you notice, and Sonic's best friend slash lover, I don't know if it's a lover, more like a woman he liked, Sally Acorn, she's a princess to the kingdom of Acorn. Now when the father retired, they found out that Sally had another brother who they thought was dead, but he was actually in hiding. And he came back to become the king because they needed a king, and I don't think Sally wanted to be queen yet. And Sally went back out into the field to fight with her friends. And anything significant? No. That's about it. I mean, up to what I want to explain, that's what the Kingdom of Acorn is. Monarchy. Sonic was their knight at one point. Then he was unknighted, if that's a word, and then reknighted again. So Sonic, in this comic or this Archie universe, he sort of follows the king's orders, not to a T, but he's not like the Sonic in the other games or comics. He just stays in one spot, mainly because of his friends and Sally, I believe. So, yeah, that's the best vague explanation I can give for the Kingdom of Acorn. It was easier to just figure out the name itself, but I thought I'd give a couple key events, which were, yeah. And I think that's it. Anyway, thank you for listening to this vague